Are you ready? Let's rip off the Band-Aid and tell the truth about why we're overeating. I'm so glad you could join me.
Hi everyone, I'm Jerry Gibbons. I'm a life and weight loss coach who helps smart, savvy, professional women with more than 50 pounds to lose and their struggle with weight and body image issues. And I'm delighted to be here to talk about ripping off the emotional Band-Aid and telling yourself the truth about overeating. So removing the Band-Aid is a great metaphor for thinking about change, and specifically about going beyond one of the popular diet programs to really understand why you're overeating and create lasting change in your life. In order to lose weight permanently, one of the things I think you have to do is tell yourself the truth. And I'm not suggesting anybody out there is being consciously dishonest with themselves as much as perhaps being a little evasive or unconsciously evasive. I do know that if you're overweight and you're anything like I was, there are some things you don't want to know. For starters, facts like what you weigh, what your health indicators are, how much you eat. And the big thing that we all really don't want to know is why we're overeating to start with. But the truth really does set you free. I meet way too many women who are afraid of the truth about themselves and why they overeat. Because once you bring the truth out into the light, you can't hide from it, and dealing with it, acknowledging your weight and health issues, feels overwhelming. But here's the truth. If you don't know why you're overeating, everything you do is a Band-Aid. And you know this is true because if you're like me, you're a serial dieter. But food isn't the problem. And if food was the problem, all the diets we've been on would have worked. The problem is we hide from ourselves and we hide the truth about why we're overeating. And without the truth, many of us are destined to live lives in emotional pain, to overeat about it, and ultimately not live the life that we want. So here's the scenario. You're in pain because you're overweight, and you're hiding from the reasons about why you're overweight because you believe they're painful. I found Glennon Doyle Melton put it perfectly and beautifully in her book, Love Warrior. There is pain in hiding and pain outside of hiding. The pain outside is better because nothing hurts as bad as not being known. Bam! Did that hit you as hard as it hit me? If so, maybe it's time to rip off the Band-Aid and tell yourself the truth. It will hurt a little, and then you'll feel amazing because the truth really does set you free. So are you ready to find out what's behind your Band-Aid? Let's talk about how you remove it. The Band-Aid, which is of course overeating, has a purpose, and its purpose is to block out negative emotion or emotions. But do you know specifically what emotions are there and why? How do you find out what the Band-Aid is covering? So many of us don't know. We're overweight because we've chosen food instead of some feeling we believe is too painful, a feeling that arose from a thought about something in the past. I didn't know. I worked really hard most of my life not to know. I was actually an excellent, epic not knower, and the proof was all over my quiet, safe, uneventful life. The proof was in the scale, in my absence in family photographs, my lack of dates and relationship. My life was a testament to my Olympic caliber not knowingness. And I don't want yours to be like that 1 minute more. But you've got some steps to take, which I'll walk you through. To rip or not to rip, that's the question. First of all, ripping the Band-Aid off at all is a choice, and it's a decision to be made. The more uncomfortable you are in your present circumstances in terms of weight, health, mobility, social life, the more likely you are to make the choice to look underneath the Band-Aid. The more pain you're in, the more you begin to consider that there's nothing worse than what you're feeling at your present weight and in your present life. But when you choose to rip, how do you do it? All in one go, like leg or bikini wax? Dear God, that's painful just thinking about it. But how then? I'll tell you how. Gently. Really gently. You remove the Band-Aid with as much care as you would the Band-Aid on a child's owie, because that child is you, your real, tender, vulnerable, and whole self. So be compassionate and be caring and take your time. You start to remove the Band-Aid by treating yourself with love and kindness, with random acts, big and little, of self-love. That means kindness about your current circumstances, about your weight and your health and your dress size, or whatever it is that's driving you to change. But here's the rub, right? Looking beneath the Band-Aid requires treating ourselves kindly, gently, and compassionately, but about the same time we're ready for that change, we're too often coming from a place of blame, shame, and discomfort. And it's pretty hard to beat yourself up and be compassionate with yourself at the same time. And this is why the first step I take with my clients, and the one they find often surprising if they're new to coaching, is to have them listen to what they say to themselves, listen to their own negative thinking, and turn it around. And that's why coaching is so different, I think, because we're not leaping into new food plans or workout regimes until we know how we got where we are to begin with. I was driven to change because I didn't like the sight of myself and I wasn't showing up in the world. But I heard a webinar about the time that I was at the tipping point of change when I couldn't face another diet program. I always tell this story, and I probably always will, about the beginning of my journey when my coach said to me, she said, "Jerry, you're going to have to like yourself a whole lot more before you begin to lose weight." And all I wanted was weight loss right then and there. And I thought, I'm screwed. But my coach did something for me in those one-on-one coaching sessions that were fundamental to my transformation. She held space for me, and holding space is really important when you're doing this kind of deep transformation. Why? Because one of the reasons we keep a lot of our feelings of shame and other negative emotions to ourselves is that we worry what other people will think, say, or do if we reveal our truth. So holding space means I create a virtual, safe, spiritual place where you can unload your mind and in return receive honest and objective feedback and perspective. I'm the person who can listen to anything you say without an opinion. You can act out your negative emotions, tell me your negative thoughts and secrets, but the space I hold for you is unconditional, where thoughts and emotions can be looked at with curiosity and fascination, unraveled and understood. It means the discussions that you have with a coach like me will not resemble the conversations that you have with your girlfriends. This is the most important part of my job as a coach. So when you can't be gentle with yourself, find someone who can hold space for you while you remove the Band-Aid until you can be. Any good coach will give you a free coaching session to see if you're a good fit. I have a great blog post right now on how to find a coach and determine if it is the right fit, and you'll find that at my website. Certainly, I will give anyone a free mini coaching session, and you can find my contact details in the show notes. So the next step, when you've found someone who will hold space for you and you're ready to rip the Band-Aid off, is you need to be kind and gentle and loving with yourself. But so many of us find that incredibly hard. We can love everybody else, but we don't love ourselves. And if this is you, here's something to consider. Something someone once said to me. If you're a person of faith, you believe God loves you unconditionally, right? And a very wise priest I knew while living in Boston once put it to me when we were talking about forgiveness and love, that if God could love me unconditionally, if he or she could forgive me anything, wasn't it a little arrogant of me to withhold that love and forgiveness from myself and to suggest that I knew better than the Creator? It gave me a lot of pause and a lot of food for thought over the years. And if you're not a person of faith, the question of self-love becomes one of why not? Is hating yourself for being overweight serving you in any way? Like choosing to rip the Band-Aid off, loving yourself is a choice. Loving yourself unconditionally is a choice. And from that choice, dealing with negative emotions beneath the Band-Aid, beneath the weight, becomes that much easier. I've said it before, you can't hate yourself thin. Now let me add to that. If you choose to rip the Band-Aid off and discover why you're overeating, you're choosing love. And when is choosing love ever a bad idea? So loving yourself is fundamental to beginning any weight loss journey. Because if it's ever to become permanent, you have to look under the Band-Aid. And it's not easy, but remember those wise words from Glennon Doyle Melton. If you're interested in hearing more from me, head on over to jerrygibbons.com where you can subscribe to my email newsletter and receive a copy of my 5 Mindset Secrets for Weight Loss, sending you love and an invitation to talk privately about these issues on a one-on-one coaching session soon. Take care.